Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of Greek, and I'm going to do a little some readings from the Prometheus bound of Aeschylus. So a little bit of background to this very, very briefly. You need to get a commentary on details of this, of course. This is just a reading through. The date of the play is unknown. Some place it early, some place it late. It's believed to have been part of a trilogy. The Prometheus the Fire Bearer was the first one, and then Prometheus Bound, and then Prometheus Luominos, Prometheus Unbound. There's also some debate about whether the play was actually by Aeschylus. The myth here, just very, very briefly, was that Mother Earth, Gaia, gave birth to Uranos, the supreme god, who in turn begat with Gaia a number of children, including the Titans. One of these, Kronos, succeeded in leading his father and became the chief god. Kronos in turn fathered Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter and Hestia. And of course it was Zeus who eventually is going to overturn his father Kronos. Another Titan, Iapetos, fathered several gods including Atlas, Epimetheus and Prometheus, whose name of course means forethought. Prometheus initially advised Kronos and the Titans to maintain power, but when his advice was scorned, he changed allegiances, and with his help Zeus overthrew Kronos and the Titans. After gaining power, Zeus decided to destroy mankind, but Prometheus opposed him. So Prometheus then stole fire, which was the privilege of the gods, and gave it to mortals. This perhaps is symbolic of lifting mankind from barbarism. Zeus punished him by crucifying him on a cliff in the Caucasus Mountains, which is where our play begins. Now there's more to the story, but we might come to that a little bit later. So at this part of the beginning of the play, we have Kratos and Bia. Bia is a non-speaking character. So Kratos and Bia enter the stage along with Hephaestus. Kratos and Bia are the sort of henchmen of Zeus. They're meant to be seen in a very negative light. We feel some sympathy with Hephaestus. He doesn't want to do this, but he's been ordered to do it by Zeus, and he has to do what he's told. So thus the play begins, and I won't necessarily read out in the Greek each line, but just perhaps occasionally, and then we'll just go through and translate and explain the grammar. I'll try and do it fairly slowly, especially for those who are reading Aeschylus for the first time. So Kratos says, Ktonos men eis teluron he komen pedon. Skuthen es oimon ambraton es eramian. So hekomen is our main verb here. We have come from heko. We have come, and then we've got es teluron pedon. Now teluros, you can see the roots here. We get the tail, meaning far off. And the uron here is from horos. So this means with boundaries that are distant, so with distant boundaries. And then we get a genitive ktonos here. So, and we get a men, so we'll be looking for a de down here. So we have come into this plain, or this plain of the land with distant boundaries. Oimon is a word meaning here a tract of land, normally is what it means, perhaps here a path, into this Scythian path. So Scythia was seen as being a long way away and being very desolate and dangerous place, so into this Scythian path, or perhaps tract of land. Umbraton, there's a variant reading here, which I think many modern editors take, of abaton. Abaton would mean not walked upon. The word we have here is abroton, which means there are no mortals around. So it's desolate. The sense of both of them is roughly desolate, and then Eremion is a desolate place. So, and abraton and abaton are both two termination adjectives, which is why they're ending in on, even though they're going with a feminine noun. So into this desolate place, we might say into this place desolate of men, into this lonely place might be okay here. Now Kratos then addresses Hephaestos. So Hephaeste, soi de cre melain epistolas has soi parte ephaeto, tondi pros petrais, hupsela crem nois, ton li orgon ok massai, arimantinon desmon en erectois pedais. So O Hephaestus, now we get the cre plus the infinitive here. It is necessary for you to melain, to have a concern for, to care for, to take note of, the epistolas. Now in later Greek this means letters, but at this stage epistolas can simply mean injunctions or commands. So it is necessary for you to take care for the commands. The commands has which, I'm afraid in this particular edition we have the lunate sigma, which probably might irritate some people, and also there's the iota adscript, so you've got to watch out. Sometimes the iota at the end of a word may be meant to be a subscript in other scripts here. Anyway, so this is has agreeing with epistolas, the commands which the father, F hato, this is from F hiemi, it's the aorist middle, so which the father has laid upon you, and these commands are ok massai. Ok masdo is to grip fast, so it's to attach, to fasten. Tondi goes with the liorgon. Liorgon, it's someone who does something bad to the people, and it becomes a word meaning scoundrel, something like that here. So to bind this scoundrel to the rocks which are hupselo cramnois, which have high crags, so to these high craggy rocks. In arectois, this is alpha privative, and they've doubled the row. The rake is from reganumi, to break, and so this is just an adjective meaning unbreakable, but just notice the etymology, alpha privative, rake from regnumi. So unbreakable fetters made from adamantine bonds. And there's debate about exactly what this means here. It's meant to be some kind of divine material that can't be broken. So just to do that bit again, so the commands which the father has enjoined upon you, to bind this scoundrel to the rocks, the high craggy rocks, in unbreakable bonds of adamantine, well, in unbreakable fetters perhaps, consisting of adamantine bonds. Tosonga anthos pant eknu puros selas, venetois cyclepsas opasen. For opasen is from opasdo, to give. Klepsas, aorist participle from klepto, to steal. For having stolen, toson anthos, literally your flower. Now, by the way, there was no caesura in line 6, which makes it a very harsh line. This is rare in Aeschylus, but not unheard of. It may be a spurious addition, but it is quoted by a scholiast on the frog, so it was an ancient line. So this next bit here, toga anthos. Anthos is flower, but in the sense of prize possession, I think here. So for he, having stolen your prize possession, which was the brightness of panteku, of fire. Now this is from pan plus that techno root, something like assisting in every art. So the brightness of fire, genitive, which assists in every art. So having stolen all that, now when he says your flower, he's referring to Hephaestus. Hephaestus, of course, is the god of fire, and so he's saying, look, he took your prize, he took your flower. Having done that, he gave it to mortals, the Thanaetoisi. So just putting that together again. So for having stolen your prize possession, the brightness of fire which aids in every art, opasen he gave it Thanaetoisi to mortals. Toias di toi hamatias verde theois dunai decain, hos an didacthei tain dios turanida, stergain, philanthropo de pauesthai tropu. Now, this is genitive here. For such sins, the toi I think is just that, indeed. So thus for those sins, it is necessary for him to pay the penalty to the gods, or to give justice, to pay the penalty to the gods, so that now this is aorist passive subjunctive here, he might be taught. Stergo is a funny word. It can mean to love, but it's more in the sense of to bear with, endure almost, to put up with the tyranny dios of Zeus, so that he might learn to perhaps almost show respect for the tyranny of Zeus, and philanthropo de pauesthai tropu, and to cease. This is from the middle, from power is I check, power my middle I check myself, hence I stop, I cease. So to cease from literally his philanthropic nature, or perhaps others translate his championship of mankind. So Prometheus has given fire to mankind. Now Hephaestus now speaks, and he addresses Kratos and Bia. Bia is so these names, of course, this just means strength and might. These are the henchmen of Zeus. Bia is a non-speaking character on the stage there. Kratos Bia te, sphoin men entole dios ekatelos de kuden empodein eti. Ego da tolmos aimi sungene theon. Desai biai pharangi pros dus cameroi. Now I mentioned that in this particular edition they're using not only the lunate sigmas but also the iota adscript, and this is actually a dative. This iota in other texts would be written underneath, and that's an iota adscript there as well. You have to sort of get used to this. So Kratos and Bia, the sphoin is a duel, the two of you. So his basic message here is your job is done. But it's literally the command of Zeus literally has its fulfillment for the two of you, indeed. And now this is kai plus uden, and there is nothing still empedon binding. So there's nothing remaining for you to do. There's nothing literally at your feet. So the command of Zeus, so in other words, your job is done, there's nothing further for you to do. Ego de atolmos eimi. Now this is idiomatic here. Atolmos eimi, something like I don't have the heart to. I am without daring, so I really don't want to. So I don't really want Dayside to bind from Deo, a god who is Sungene, who is related to me, to bind Bie, this is a dative here, by force, to bind him pros to this Dus Camero, to this wintry Varangi crag, to this wintry crag, I think. Pantos de but Pantos de Ananke Tondimoi Tolman Skethane. You Ariasdane Gar Patros Logus Baru. Pantos in every way, so and we're going to supply the verb to here, I think. So, but it is completely necessary, understand, well, for me. Skethane is another form from echo. The sk root at the beginning here, you can see it in the escon, the aorist of, and you know the sko root and the subjunctive and so on from echo. This is just another form of this with a different ending on it, but it's an infinitive. So it's just like ekain. So it's necessary for me to have daring, I think in respect daring for these things, that is to tie him to the rock. For, now there's no verb in here that's an infinitive, so I'll just apply the verb to be. It is a heavy matter, it is a heavy thing. You Ariasdo. Now this is a very rare word here. I think it's a hapax legomenon. It has the sense of to neglect or to disregard. So it is a serious matter to disregard the words of the Father. So just to do that one bit again, I think here. So I am reluctant to bind a God who I am related to by force to this wintry crag, but it is completely necessary for me to have daring for these things, for it is a serious matter to disregard the words of the Father. Tes orthobulu themidos I prometa pi, aconta se acon dus lutois calcumasi, pros passaluso toidi ap anthropoi pagoi. I might just stop there because it goes on. So now he addresses Prometheus directly. During this entire scene, while they're on the stage, Prometheus doesn't speak. When they leave, he then does, but he's silent throughout this. Ipumati is something like deep. Ipos is steep, so deep scheming son of Orthobodu of right counselling Themis. So we've got the prospassaluso. Now, a passalos is a peg or a nail or something like this, and this is a verb from this, and it's a future, as you see by the sigma in here. So acon goes with that. So I, against my will, unwillingly, I will attach you, who are also unwilling, against your will. So I, against my will, I will peg you against your will with difficult to break bronze things. So this is bronze chains or something. This is dus. The lu here is from luo, to loose. So these are calcumasi, this something like bronze chains which are difficult to loose, and I will do that I will attach you to this pagos, which is anthropoi, which is apanthropoi, to this crag which is away far from men. So I, against my will, I will attach you. I will put, well, it's almost crucify you against your will, with these bronze bonds that are hard to break, to this crag which is desolate of men, far from men. Hin, in order that, uti phonein, uti tu morphane proton opse. Now this again is the ota adscript. This is the second person future from horao, it's opsomai. So in order that, now you don't actually see a voice, so we've got to put in an extra word here or something, so that neither understand will you hear voice, nor will you see the form. Now the two, notice there's no accent on two, so that means it's tinos of any, nor will you see the form of any of mortals. But stathutos heliu phoibu flogi. Stathutos is a very strong word. It has that sense of being scorched, almost grilled by the bright flame of the sun. So that being scorched by the bright flame of the sun, kroias amepses anthos. Amebo is to exchange. So here it's got the sense of you will lose. You will literally, you will exchange the flower of your skin. So probably kroios here, perhaps complexion. So you will lose the beauty of your complexion. As meno desoi he poikilemon nux apokrypse phaos pacnein theonian helios gedai palin. Ie de tu parontos akthedon kaku truse se hot lotheson ga u pefuka po. But the night, poikilemon, this is from poikilos, and the amon is from that verb, that root meaning clothing. So it's in spangled clothing, in spangled garb. The night will hide the light for you being happy. So to your joy, to your pleasure, the night with its spangled garb will hide the light. Sorry, the night will hide the light. And the thet here is for tet, and it's aspirated because of the aspirate here. And the sun, skedar, is, again, it's iota adscript. This is a future from skedanumi, to scatter. So the sun will scatter again, that is in the morning, the oian, the dawn. Paikne is the frost, the hoarfrost. So the sun again will scatter at the dawn frost. Ai de tu parontes akthedon kaku, truse se, and continually. Now akthedon is just the burden, it's like akthos. So continually the burden of your present evil situation, truse set, will wear you out, from truo, it's a future here. Hot left there sown, the one being about to lighten, so give you relief. U pefukipo is not yet born. So the one who will give you relief is not yet born. Now this is an obscure reference here to Heracles. Heracles is the one that will eventually come and free Prometheus from his terrible situation, but after many centuries. Now, Hephaestus doesn't actually know this, so he's making a sort of general, there's nobody yet born who can help you. But of course it's got a double meaning, because the audience knows that there is someone who can do this, but he is not yet born, and it's going to be Heracles. And I might finish here for this first part, and we'll continue this in the next recording.